Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're jumping headfirst into, well, a pretty intense world. Cursed energy, complex characters. You know the drill.
We do. And specifically, we're tackling a character who sparks, endless debate online, Satoru Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen.
Like Gojo. And we're going to frame this using some really interesting analysis we found from fans, from critics, looking at what they call the Gojo problem.
Yeah, that problem. So our mission today basically is to unpack that. Is Gojo's, insane power level a narrative issue? Does it make things too easy?
Or is it actually like a core feature, something Geiji Kutami, the creator, put there deliberately? We want to dig past just the, wow, he's strong part.
Yeah, there's definitely more to him than just the limitless technique.
Exactly. So if you're keen to understand the layers here, maybe prep for your next JJK chat. Stick with us. We're diving into this analysis together.
Let's do it. The strongest sorcerer.
Okay, so let's start with the basics of this Gojo problem, as the analysis puts it. It starts simple. Gojo is just so powerful, like ridiculously powerful. It feels like he could just, I don't know, wave his hand and fix whatever big bad thing is happening.
That's definitely the first impression, isn't it? If you've got a character who seems unbeatable, where are the stakes? The analysis points out, yeah, from a pure plot perspective, it's a challenge. How do you build tension?
And it's not that people dislike him. The source makes that clear. He's hugely popular. The design is iconic. The blindfold, the whole vibe.
Oh, absolutely. Fan favorite, no question.
But just his raw ability, on the surface, it looks like you just, well, break the story.
And this is where the analysis we're looking at makes a really interesting turn. It argues, no, this power isn't a bug. It's not broken. It's actually a feature, intentionally designed that way.
Okay, hold on. A feature. How does that much power become a good thing for the story?
Well, the source ties it right back into how the Jujutsu Kaisen world works. Cursed energy, the fuel for all the monsters and problems, it comes from negative human emotions, right? Fear, hate, despair.
Right, yeah. Standard stuff.
So the argument is that the existence of someone like Gojo, this being who is so overwhelmingly powerful, he basically warps reality around him, who inspires not just awe, but also deep-seated fear and inadequacy in enemies and allies. His very presence generates a ton of those negative emotions. His power doesn't just fight curses in a weird, twisted way. It contributes to the very atmosphere that creates them.
Whoa. Okay, so his power feeds the problem he's supposed to solve. A loop. A really messed up loop.
It reframes him completely, doesn't it? And the analysis calls him a living paradox. You've got the Six Eyes, which let him see cursed energy like nobody else, process infinite information.
Sounds exhausting.
Probably is. And then you pair that with Limitless, his technique. Absolute control over space. He can make himself untouchable, create infinite distances, godlike stuff in a fight.
Okay, yeah, it sounds pretty straightforwardly powerful. Where's the paradox?
The paradox, according to the analysis, is that despite all that power, he's still fundamentally human. He makes mistakes. He has emotional blind spots that the Six Eyes can't see. He struggles with relationships, and his power often makes those struggles worse.
Right, okay, now this part of the analysis really clicked for me. It's saying the thing that makes Gojo compelling isn't the power itself, but how it affects him and his relationships.
That's the core insight, yeah. Think about how he is with his students. Yuji, Megumi, Nobara, the source highlights this. He's goofy, sure, kind of annoying sometimes.
Definitely annoying.
Agrees. Yeah, but underneath there's this genuine care. He wants to protect them, build them up. That humanity, leaking through the cracks of the strongest title, that's what hooks you.
It grounds him. Seeing him actually try to teach, investing in these kids, it makes him more than just a walking plot device.
And the analysis stresses you can't separate the power from the person or the relationships. His strength actively shapes how he connects with people, often tragically. I mean, look at Geto.
Oh man, Geto.
Yeah. His best friend turned worst enemy. The source heavily implies that part of why they split, why Geto went down that dark path, was the sheer isolation Gojo experienced, being the only one at that level. It created a gap Geto couldn't cross, leading to different ideals.
So the power that protects him also isolates him, creates these massive personal tragedies. It's a double-edged sword, is putting it mildly.
Exactly. Strength is a burden.
And the analysis uses a specific example to really hammer this home. The hidden inventory arc, going back in time.
Essential reading or watching, yeah. You see younger Gojo, still brilliant, still powerful, obviously.
Cockier, maybe? Less refined.
Definitely. And crucially, still vulnerable in ways he isn't later. He hasn't mastered everything yet. He can still be caught off guard.
And then, boom, Koji Fushiguro. The analysis loves this, fight technically speaking.
Oh, it's brilliant. Because Toji is the opposite of Gojo, and a key way, zero cursed energy. He's all physical skill, speed, and weird cursed tools. And his strategy against Gojo, it was genius. He targeted the Six Eyes.
But how? The Six Eyes see everything, process everything.
Too much everything. That was Toji's bet. The analysis explains his speed, the unpredictable nature of his attacks, using tools without cursed energy signatures. It just flooded Gojo's Six Eyes with too much raw data to process effectively in the moment.
Information overload.
Exactly. Created a blind spot. The source compared it to trying to drink from a fire hose. Yeah, you can process a lot, but you can still drown if it comes too fast.
Chuckles slightly. Okay, vivid. And the analysis points out the timing of this defeat is brutal, emotionally.
Right. It happens just as he's forming these real bonds, this friendship with Geto, this connection with Rico. He lets his guard down emotionally, and then bam!
Yeah.
Physical defeat, betrayal, loss. Hits him right when he was opening up. It's cruel.
But that defeat is also what pushes him over the edge, power-wise, isn't it? The awakening.
Correct. Surviving Toji forces him, like right then and there, to figure out reverse cursed technique, healing himself from near-fatal wounds. Power-wise, this is the moment. He becomes basically unkillable by normal means, untouchable.
The Gojo we kind of know from the start of the main series.
Yeah. But the analysis makes a crucial point. Character-wise, this moment of ultimate power, it's also the moment he becomes truly, profoundly alone.
Alone? How? He has allies, students.
Alone in his experience. He reaches a peak of power and understanding the Six Eyes, Limitless fully realized that no one else can ever truly share or comprehend. Even the students he cares about, he can't make them understand what it's like. So that power shields him physically, but isolates him conceptually.
Which kind of leads into the next big event the analysis tackles. Shibuya. And Gojo getting sealed. This wasn't just, oh, let's take the strong guy off the board.
Definitely not plot convenience, according to this source. It's framed as a narrative experiment. What happens when the world's biggest safety net just vanishes? Gojo was that net.
And the psychological impact on everyone else? The analysis says it's devastating.
Oh, totally. You see it instantly. Yuji's breakdown is just raw. Megumi gets pushed way past his limits. Nanami's final moments. Think about the aftermath. It shows how much everyone, consciously or not, relied on Gojo just being there.
The world kind of falls apart.
Pretty much. And the way he's sealed is important too, right? The prison realm.
Yeah, the analysis highlights that. It's not a cage you break.
Exactly. It's conceptual.
Yeah.
Built on rules, vows, abstract stuff. You can't punch a concept. It's one of the few things in the universe that feels like it could realistically hold Gojo, given his powers. It feels earned within the world's logic.
And what's really interesting, the analysis notes, is even sealed away, his influence is still massive.
Huge. His absence becomes a character in itself. It motivates everyone left. They have to step up because he's gone. They're fighting to live up to his example, fighting for the hope of getting him back.
Stepping up. That ties into another angle the analysis explored, Gojo as a teacher, which is unique.
Laughs softly unique is one word. That whole figure it out yourself mantra isn't exactly teacher of the year material.
But the source argues there's a deep reason for it, connected to who he is.
Right, because he can't be replicated. Six Eyes? Limitless, you can't teach that. It's genetic, unique. So he can't teach them to be him. His only option is to force them to understand curse energy deeply and unlock their own unique potential, their own techniques to the absolute max.
Make them the best of them, not many Gojos.
Exactly. And the analysis finds the emotional core there. His goal, ultimately, is to raise a generation of sorcerers so strong, so capable, that the world doesn't need a Satoru Gojo anymore.
Wow.
It's incredibly selfless, but also kind of heartbreaking, right? For someone defined by being the singular strongest, he's trying to make himself unnecessary, to create a future where his level of power isn't the only thing holding back disaster.
Preparing them for a world without him makes sense.
And the analysis suggests his own learning curve probably informs this. He figured stuff out in life or death fights. He's giving them, well, a slightly safer but still intense environment to force that growth.
Now, the analysis isn't all praise. It does touch on his attitude, especially towards the higher-ups, his flirtation with moral ambiguity.
Yeah, his contempt for the Jujutsu elders is pretty blatant. He sees them as corrupt, stuck, dangerous even. The analysis almost paints him as a one-man revolution against this old guard.
And the source seems to think he's kind of justified, that the higher-ups are pretty bad.
It definitely presents his perspective strongly, showing their hypocrisy, their focus on tradition over, well, saving people sometimes.
But what's key here, the analysis argues, is the restraint. He could just wipe them out. He has the power to just take over, reshape the whole jujitsu world by force.
But he doesn't, and that choice is crucial. He chooses education, raising the next generation, gradual change. He believes in building something better, not just smashing the old system. That says a lot.
That choice is his character, in a way.
Though the analysis does admit there are moments you see him tempted, like you feel he could snap, which adds this tension whenever he deals with authority.
Okay, so let's bring it back, the original question. After looking at all this analysis, is Gojo's power level a narrative problem?
The conclusion from this source is pretty clear. No, absolutely not. Geiju Katami handles it, well, brilliantly. His power doesn't make the story easy. It creates the interesting problems.
The right kinds of problems, you said.
Yeah, problems that force other characters to grow. Problems that create impossible moral choices. Problems that make his absence devastating and meaningful. Problems that make his rare moments of vulnerability hit like a truck.
And the technical side helps. The analysis credits that. His powers have rules, limits, even if they're extreme limits. It's not just he wins because he's strong.
Exactly. The rules make it feel earned, structured, not lazy writing.
So the big takeaway from the analysis, the core insight.
It's simple but powerful. Gojo's true strength isn't limitless. It's his restraint.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. His ability not to just solve everything, not to dominate, even though he could. That changes how you see him.
Completely. It flips the whole script on what being the strongest actually means in this story.
Absolutely. So that was our deep dive into Satoru Gojo, looking through the lens of this analysis. Hopefully exploring these ideas, the power as a feature, the isolation, the teaching philosophy, that final point about restraint gives you, a richer way to appreciate Jujutsu Kaisen and just how layered these characters are.
It leaves you thinking, doesn't it, about these superpowered characters in general. What does it really mean when their biggest impact isn't the destruction they could cause, but the choices they make not to? Something to chew on.
Definitely a great thought to end on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Next time, the analysis we looked at also touched heavily on another major player, so we're going to be diving into the development and role of Sukuna.
Ooh, okay. That's going to be intense. Different kind of intense.
It will be. We'll see you on the next deep dive.